Good morning, students. Welcome into the another session of CS02 Programming in C. Lastly, we are discussing about a very important concept in programming in C, that is UDF. The full form of UDF is User Defined Function. In this concept, we have learned about creating the user defined function using the four different types, that is function with argument, with return value, second function without argument with return value, third function with argument without return value, and the fourth one is function without argument without return value. Now, during the implementation of all these four UDF type, we have kept some common points into the implementation of programs. That common points are: every UDF type must contain function prototype. Second, every UDF need to call the function, that means function call. Third, once the function prototype and function call is done, function need to be initialized, and then after function initialization, if it contains the return value, then there should be a return. So all the four types have their own syntax, and we have kept two common programs in all four types, so we can easily compare where the exact difference we are making in all the types. So over here, the discussion of user defined function is completed. If you didn't forget, then we are on unit number 4 and section number 2, that is structure. And after the discussion of array with structure, there is a one point, that is UDF with structure. So for that, first we have completed that what is UDF. Now we will see how can we use user defined function into the structure. That means now it's time to merge the concept of user defined function into the concept of structure. For the revision purpose, I am just writing the definition of structure. What is structure, or we can say what does a structure means? Structure is a group of elements with same name and different types, that is called as structure. This is little bit different than array, because array is a group of elements with same name and same type. Right now we are not discussing area for structure because it is already done. We are going to discuss about how can we use UDF into the structure. So let's start the same with one example. In this example, what I want to do is I want to find out number is odd or even using the user defined function with a structure member, right? So what I'm doing is, after writing the necessary library function, first here I'm declaring function prototype where the name of function is odd even, and by this style of writing the code we can judge that this UDF is of function without return, without argument, or you can say function without argument, without return type. So function prototype I have done. Now as far as the syntax of structure is concerned, structure should be declared with the keyword called struct. So I am writing struct, then the name of structure, that is, for example, I am giving the name of structure as a test, into the bracket. Here I am declaring our member of this test structure, that is A, and I am redeclaring this test structure as T1 for accessing into the void main or odd even function statement. Generally I will access it into the odd even because I have to use UDF. Then there is a void main statement. Into the void main statement, simply I am calling the function that is odd even. Let me write a commented line, that is function call. Once the simple function call is done, as per the sequence of UDF, I am initializing the function. So into the initialization of function, return type name of the function remains same. So I am writing void odd even into the bracket without semicolon, opening and closing bracket. Then here I am giving the message printf, enter your number. Just keep one thing in your mind. In this odd even function or even into the main statement, I have not declared any local variable. Then scanf statement, %d, comma ampersand t1 dot a. What it does, it access the member of structure called test inside the UDF called odd even, and that we want to do. We'll check it, is it properly working or not. So after writing this scanf statement, here I am checking that this particular number is odd or even by writing our decision making statement if into the bracket t1 dot a modulus 2, and if the remainder is 0, then simply it prints the message even, that means this number is even. And if this condition is false, then it print number is odd. After the termination of else, that means after the closing bracket of else, I am writing my basic function, that is getch. Let me save this particular code. Now let's check for the syntactical error. As you can see that there are no syntactical error onto the screen. We can proceed for the second step of executing the program by selecting Ctrl F9, or you can say run. As per the sequence of program, it will ask for one number. Say for example I am entering 2. 2 is even number, so it prints even onto the screen. Let's recheck the program by entering any odd number. Say for example I am entering 7. It prints odd. Here I forgot to write a one basic function called CLRS here. So let me put it into the sequence of entire program and let me rerun the code. The entire screen is cleared. That means the all inputted buffer is cleared and it stores the refreshed output onto the screen. Now I am entering 4. Condition becomes true. It prints even. Let me rerun the code. I am entering 9. It prints odd. So entire sequence of the program is perfect and it gives the output onto the screen. Program and its logic is very simple. It's just find out the order. It will check just that particular number is odd or even. But the thing that I have merged in this particular program is using UDF I am accessing the structure member. Now let's see this particular program into the notepad for better visibility. So let me go into this computer, C drive, Turbo C disk, Turbo C3 bin, and I have saved this particular program as a 3.c. I am just opening it. You can see the entire source code onto the screen. Again I am repeating the entire program for the second time. After the necessary library function, that is hash include standard input output.h, then hash include console input output.h. There is a function prototype where I have created function prototype for odd even function, which consists of fourth type of UDF, that is function without argument, without return value. Then I have declared a one structure called a test, which contains a single member called A, and it is accessible into the void main statement or UDF by T1, that is the dummy name of this entire structure. Then as per the sequence of UDF into the void main statement, I am just calling the function called odd even. Once the function call is done, there is a sequence of function initialization. Into the function initialization, as per the rules, return type should be same as a return type that we have declared into the function prototype. So I have mentioned void. Then the name of function is common, that is odd even. Then into the bracket of this function initialization, after CLRS here, there is a message for entering our number. This scanf statement read and store value of variable called A, which is ultimately the member of structure called test. Once the value is stored inside the variable, it checks by one decision making statement that this number is odd or even. If number is divisible by 2 and the remainder is 0, then the number is even. That means the condition becomes true. Otherwise, condition becomes false and it prints odd. That means suppose I have entered 6 over here, then this particular condition check that is 6 divisible by 2 and remainder is 0. So yes, it is divisible by 2 and remainder is 0. Then the output will be even. Instead of this 6, say for example I have entered 5, then this condition becomes false. That means the condition which I have written into the if statement becomes false and it prints odd onto the screen. So just note down the definition for this particular program. Definition would be like this: write a program to check number is odd or even using user defined function type, function without argument, without return value, and create structure member which store the value. This might be the definition. You can make it more perfect than me also, but this definition is according to my point of view. Let's check the statement of definition again. Write a program to check number is odd or even using UDF type function without argument, without return value, and create a structure member which stores the value and check for the same. So this might be the definition. Note down this definition, create this program, and once you get a success of finding out odd and even, note it down into the journal. Now students, you can make as many as program which we have already implemented into the past lectures using this particular concept. Always remember that concept need to be clear. Program any can be asked, any program can be asked, but the concept remains same. Without wasting more time and discussing the miscellaneous things, let's go ahead. Let's practice one more program for the same. Now what I want to do is, I just want to print 1 to 5 number using function without argument, without return value. I will try. If you remembers the previous lecture, at the end of the lecture, I have put a one comma, a one question. Try to print 1 to 5 number using function without argument, without return value. At that particular time, you will get a one problem. So let's face this particular problem. What type of problem generally we get? So let's start. Void series. I'm just giving this function name as a series. Then keep this structure member as it is. We'll go for this sequence. Then I am replacing name of function in function call by series. Once it is done, in function initialization, even I am writing name of UDF as a series. Then I am accepting one number from the user and storing inside the scanf statement. Then as this is a looping control statement program, we have to go for any of the loop. So here I am going for for loop. I is equals to 0, I less than or equals to t1 dot a I plus plus into the bracket. Simply I am printing the value of I, and I is the local variable. So here I am declaring before this CLR SCR statement. Let's check. As there are no syntactical error, let me enter 5. 1 2 3 4 5 should be there. I have started my looping control structure from 0. Instead of that, I am just replacing it with 1 5. So 1 2 3 4 5 is there. Let's rerun the code. I am entering 10. So 1 to 10 is there. Just to print every number on a new line, I am adding /n into the printf statement, and 9 I am giving. So 1 to 9 numbers are there onto the screen. So this program is perfect. In this program, 3 different major concepts of programming in C we have used. Which are the 3 major concepts? Concept number 1 is we have used UDF, function without argument, without return type. Concept number 2 we have used is structure. Concept number 3 we have used in this program is looping control structure. So by merging all these three major concept of C, we are able to write this program successfully. Let's see this particular program in Notepad for better visibility. This is the code. What I have done after this necessary library function, I have declared a one function called series. Then there is a one structure called test. Into the bracket of structure, a one local variable I have declared, that is A. Then the dummy name of the structure I have given called T1. Into the void main statement, there is a function call which calls the initialized function called series. Now it's time to initialize the function. So I have initialized this series function. Into the opening and closing bracket, one local variable I have declared called integer I. Then CLR SCR function, enter your number, scanf %d and %t1.a, which read and store the number inside the variable called A, which is ultimately the member of structure called test. Then there is a looping control structure. That looping control structure starts from the first and repeats up to the inputted value. Say for example, here the value of A is 5, then this for loop repeats for the 5 times, starting with 1. That means 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 and then 5. Once the value of I becomes 6, condition becomes false and repetition will stop. Then opening and closing bracket, simply I am printing the value of I. That means into the every repetition of looping control structure, it will print the value of I. That means whenever the loop is repeated for the first time, value of I is 1, it is printed onto the screen, condition is true, then 2, then 3, then 4 and then 5, as I have inputted the value of A is equals to 5. Now once it becomes 6, the condition becomes false and repetition is stopped. One more thing I have mentioned in this program installation, what it does, it prints every number onto the new line. So this would be the expected output if I have entered 5 into the system. So I hope all of you are clear that how to use structure, looping control structure and UDF together. Just note down the definition for this particular program. Write a program to print 1 to 5 number using function without argument, without return value, and create structure member which stores the value. I hope all of you have noted down the definition. As this is a video lecture, you can pause it also. We are not wasting more time for this. Now what I am going to do is, I am just converting this particular program with first type of UDF, that is function with argument with return value. Same program I'm going to print 1 to 5 numbers, but I will try this with function with argument with return value. So let's start for the same. Function with argument with return value. So return type, say for example, I am keeping as it is as integer, and one value I am passing. So let me declare one argument that is integer also. This would be the function prototype. Further on, we'll check into the execution phase. So function prototype is integer series into the bracket integer with semicolon. This would be the expected function prototype. Then structure test into the bracket integer a, closing bracket t1, no need to change anything into the structure member declaration. Yes, obviously here one thing is going to be changed as there is a return type. Generally we are declaring a one return variable over here. Say for example, C, here I am declared C is equals to series and bracket with semicolon. Here I am writing printf, enter your value, then scanf percentage d, as function with argument with return value is there. That's why I'm writing this t1 dot a, and I'm passing this t1 dot a into the function initialization. Then printf percentage d comma c. Why I have written this line? As per the sequential process, output need to be print. Now as I have declared the return type as an integer, so I am writing integer into the function initialization, and a dummy variable called x which stores the value of t1 dot a. Then instead of this t1 dot a, we can go for x. Now let's check. One warning is there. Yes, warning is what? Function should return a value, because return type I have declared but I have not used into the program. Return keyword I have not used into the program. So simply what I am doing over here is return I. Now as you can see that there are no syntactical errors are there. We can go for execution phase. Let's enter 3. What it prints? Only 1. Let me check. Let me change one more thing. Instead of writing getch into the function initialization, I am putting it into the void main statement, and clr statement should be there. Let's run. I am entering 5. What will be the expected output? Obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But instead of that, it gives 1. And this is the problem which I tries to convey with all of you during my last lecture. Why only 1? Because I have not instructed all of you that a return can only, just remember, listen it very carefully, return can only returns single value at times. It can return only a single value at times. એટલે કે રિટર્ન સ્ટેટમેન્ટ એક ટાઈમે એક જ વેલ્યુ રિટર્ન કરી શકે, અને આ લૂપિંગ કંટ્રોલ સ્ટ્રક્ચરમાં મલ્ટિપલ વેલ્યુઝ જે છે એ પ્રોસેસ થાય છે, તો એ રિટર્ન સ્ટેટમેન્ટ ન કરી શકે. તો આ કહેવા પાછળનું રીઝન શું હતું? આટલું બધું કરવા પાછળનો ખોટો પ્રોગ્રામ લખવા પાછળનું રીઝન શું હતું? The reason is that whenever you have a looping control statement program, just go for function with or without argument, but strictly go for without return value. એક કરતાં વધારે વેલ્યુઝનું મેન્યુપ્યુલેશન તમે જો કરતા હો તો વિધાઉટ રિટર્ન વેલ્યુમાં જવું. I hope all of you are clear. Again, my last word I am repeating over here. Return statement returns only and only the single value. This should be the golden words of return statement. So I hope all of you have a very clear-cut idea about how can we use user-defined function with structure. In our next lecture, we'll move on by introducing the new concept in our subject, that is nested structure. In today's session, I'm just completing with this theory. In next lecture, we'll go for nested structure. Thank you very much, students, for listening me, and have a nice day.